vlog, welcome to the video. Today's video, I was journaling last night, as I do, and it was Sunday night and I was like thinking about what I wanted to do this week and my goals and la-di-da-di-da, and I realized that I have all of these things that I keep saying that I'm gonna do that I just don't do, and they seem to be always in this space of like, I'm gonna do it, you know? And so I decided to make this video to kind of keep me accountable in doing those things. So things that I want to do this week are, I want to listen to a podcast each day. Because when I used to work a 9 to 5, I'd sit down and whilst I was doing construction drawings on the computer, I would always listen to podcasts because it was like quite a mindless activity. Like I needed to think, but I didn't really need my whole brain. So I felt like I could just ingest information at the same time whilst doing these drawings. And I also want to read more because that's one of those things that I'm always like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. But again, I just haven't like carved out that time in my day. And I also want to find some new music because whenever I find new music, it feels like things are changing and things feel like new and exciting. And I also think that a big part of me creating this list and wanting to start all these new habits is because life in Byron for me can start to feel quite same and sort of stagnant in a way quite easily. And so I feel like to combat that feeling of like stagnance, it's really helpful to just have these little things in your life that do change and have routine that changes, new habits. It just makes life feel more enriched. I think a lot of these goals are really just around like intentional consumption of media, all sorts of media, not social media, but yeah, like podcasts, books, music, movies, because that's another thing for me. I find living in a small town, I'm not being exposed to as much as I am when I would live in a city. Like living in London, I feel like my mind is always in this space of like thinking about the world and thinking about other people. Like you're walking down the street and you're walking past all of these old buildings, and my mind just constantly would get lost in these like spirals of really deep thought about the world and history. Whereas living in a small town, I don't so much feel like that because I'm not surrounded by things that trigger those thoughts. So I want to like read more, watch more, and like consume more things that do lead me to think more and open my mind more. I also want to make some cardamom buns this week. I love baking, and I used to bake a lot when I was a kid, and I just haven't baked in a while, and I feel like it would bring me happiness. I also want to go for a run 5 days this week, because I keep saying to myself, I'm going to run all these days, and then I just don't. And I think because I'm just not really keeping myself accountable, I'm just kind of doing it when I feel like it. But I'm telling myself, I'm going to go for a run for 5 days this week. And also with starting new habits like this and already having like routines and habits set up in your life, you can start to habit stack and say that now I'm saying that I want to read more. Like I already have a routine set up in the morning of waking up and stretching, going for a run, and meditating. So now maybe I might just read after I meditate. So it's just like one extra thing that I'm adding to that series of habits I already have built in my life. Same with like going for an afternoon walk. I could combine that with listening to a podcast. And I feel like when you do that and you start to like stack habits, it seems a lot less overwhelming. But yeah, long intro. Welcome to the video. Let's start new habits and stay on track, really. I've been meditating lately after I do exercise and after I have a shower, because after I go for a run or do any exercise at the moment, it's so hot and I feel so hot and bothered afterwards, and I have a cold shower, but I feel like my body is still like cooling down, like I still feel very hot. So I just like to sit here with my wet hair in my towel. I'll sit here for like 15 minutes and I just feel a lot like cooler and calmer afterwards. I feel like it's nice going from like a state of like heaps of like energy and activity when I'm exercising and then meditating, and it's like a nice cool down afterwards, like a mental and physical cool down. And I always use Insight Timer to time my meditations. And whilst I do work like at my laptop, I always like to listen to music. And one thing on my list this week of things I wanted to do was find some new music, just because all my old music is feeling kind of stagnant, and just like I feel like because I listen to music really often, it gets really tied up with memory, and then I'll be listening to a song or listening to a playlist and I'm like, oh yeah, this really reminds me of this time of my life, and I feel like I just need something fresh because I feel like I've stepped into something fresh. So I want like my music to align with that. So I usually just go and listen to my Spotify Discover Weekly and see what's happening there, and I'll just like play it through. I feel like whilst I'm working is a good way to find new music because it's kind of like playing in the background, but I know if a good song comes on because I'm always like, oh wait, like what was that? And then I go and save it. And then also if I find a song I like on my Discover Weekly or like anywhere, I'll go and listen to the rest of that artist's albums and their popular songs. And then also Spotify Radio is a great way to find songs. It's just like a bit of a wormhole and you kind of have to make a bit of an effort to find new music, but I think it's definitely worth it because I love music. So that's what I'm gonna do as I do some work now. So my plan to get my bedroom sorted is slowly coming along. I picked up this chest of drawers from Marketplace this afternoon. It is very nice, like a nice old wooden chest of drawers. She said it was her grandmother's. And when I went to go and see it, I'm so bad at like actually just like having a look at something. And because I'm just so indecisive, she's like, you don't have to take it. And I'm like, I do really like it, but I don't know, there was something about it that I'm like, I'm kind of on the fence, but I also really like it. But I feel like I need to live with it for like a couple of weeks to see if I like it or not. I can't just decide like that. So I got it. It's in my room. It's here. And I do like it. It just, I don't know, it feels kind of heavy. Maybe because it's dark wood. And maybe because there was not really much here before. I don't know, when you put a piece of furniture in the space, it can like really change how it feels. And so I'm just like getting reacquainted with this corner of the room because it just feels very different. This is also the fan I bought yesterday. I feel like this is a nice little cozy nook. I've got my record player here. Things are coming along. Also because ultimately what I want to do is I want to get my own space, like get my own 1-bedroom place. So like this feels like a temporary space at the moment. So I'm not trying to like invest in it heaps. So that's why I was like, oh, I'll just get this. And like if I don't like it in a couple of months' time, I'll sell it. But it's nice for now. It's doing the job. I also just had nowhere to like really store my things after I moved back, and I just kind of like had my things around, but they didn't really have a home. So now I can put things in drawers, and it's very satisfying. I really just am trying to like live a little differently to how I did when I lived here in the past, to try and avoid feeling stagnant at any time, just to like keep things moving, you know, keep life interesting, and just literally just coming outside and listening to a podcast and riding my bike and just walking around and looking at trees feels so nice. Feels like I'm doing something different, and also like listening to a podcast, I feel like I'm taking stuff in, like taking in information and learning and being inspired and thinking about other people's stories and other people's lives, which feels really nice. And I think that it's definitely like a conscious effort and something that you have to like make time to do. So that's just what I'm trying to do at the moment. This is a reenactment, but it is real. I'm so tired. 6:30 a.m. I said I would wake up early, and I said that I'd go for a run at 7 a.m. I feel like sometimes when I wake up and I'm tired, I'm like, it's fine. Like after I wake up and I run and shower, I won't be tired anymore. Surely. So I'm gonna get up. I'm not wearing clothes. I've been loving making a cup of tea and just getting a big glass of cold water with lemon in the morning. These are my two beverages that I consume before I go for my run. And I've got my journal here. And when I journal in the morning, I feel like I just like to write about like how yesterday was, a little recap of yesterday, and just like things that went well, things I enjoyed about the day, you know, like those little glimmers that made me really happy and the little things that I noticed. And I'll also write about how I want to feel today, what I want today to be, things I want to do today, just setting intentions for today. Time to go for a run. I have a problem with doing shoelaces up. I literally never undo shoelaces. I would rather just shove my foot into a shoe than undo the shoelaces. But I feel like I should start undoing shoelaces. Like, it's really not that hard. It's just like one of those things that I just don't do. Anyway, I get to go for a run this morning. See the mindset shift? It's not I have to go for a run. I get to go for a run. How lucky am I? I get to move my body and go outside and feel the sunshine and be active, nourish my little heart, make it beat faster. Yeah. Literally on the second half of this run though, every time I'm just like, why do I do this to myself? It's torture. Also in the sun, it's so hot. But I've slip-slopped and slapped. I've got my SPF on, so I'm gonna be sun safe. Let's do it. That is like soothing me. Yum. So today on the agenda, I have to make 5 TikToks for this brand I'm working for. And then I also want to edit a YouTube video today. So they're the plans for today. And I also have some printing I want to get done. And we're going to listen to a podcast. I might try and listen to a podcast while I'm working today. I went through all the podcasts I listened to and just like selected a bunch of episodes and saved them to my episodes so that they're all there. And there's one that I really want to listen to, so today's the day.
And people say, tell me what your book's about. What do you say?
So in 2017, several statues in New Orleans were coming down, the majority of which were honoring former leaders of the Confederacy. And so this is in the month of May 2017.
Over this week, I've really noticed how starting new habits takes conscious effort and how having goals set is one thing, but the discipline required to implement habits and routines is really the driving force that carries us towards those goals. I've been enjoying the challenge of keeping myself accountable and showing up for myself, and it really is such a delicate dance between growing the muscle of discipline and knowing when to pull back and grant yourself grace. I think a huge part of that dance between discipline and giving yourself grace and being gentle with yourself comes from just like a really deep and intimate understanding of yourself and knowing yourself, because I think that balance is really something that is different for every single one of us, and it's not something that's really easy to sort of outsource and learn from other people, because I think that we're just all so different, and the ways that we balance discipline and being gentle with ourselves, knowing our own bodies, is so different for every single one of us. But I think that's part of the fun of life, like getting to know yourself, getting to understand yourself, and knowing that there's no rush, there's no race. It's, you're on your own time, you're running your own race, and there's no need to compare or to judge yourself or to be critical to yourself. I think that having compassion for yourself is the number one place to start with, like knowing yourself and understanding yourself and being able to get to a place of balance and having healthy discipline. But yeah, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video, and I hope that it has added some value to your life in one way or another. But I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye for now.